Hello everyone. Welcome to the world of blissfulness. Our mission is to spread happiness and joy to everyone around us.
The mission of the passage is clear: to spread happiness and joy to others by embracing the principles of blissfulness.
I will be reading from my book Feel Good Anyways.
The introduction indicates that the passage will draw from the author's book titled Feel Good Anyways.
Chapter 8, page 11. Comparison destroys peace. One of the fastest ways to lose emotional well-being is constant comparison with others, especially on superficial levels. Social media intensifies this problem. People compare their real lives to curated highlights. They compare their beginnings to someone else's middle. They compare private struggles to public appearances. This creates feelings of inadequacy.
The passage from chapter 8 of the book, Feel Good Anyways, highlights the destructive impact of comparison on emotional well being. Social media, in particular, intensifies this problem by encouraging people to compare their genuine experiences to carefully curated content online. People may compare their own starting points to the midway point of others' journeys and their private struggles to the public portrayal of success. This constant comparison can lead to feelings of inadequacy and dissatisfaction with one's own life.
No matter how much someone achieves, there will always be another person who appears more successful. If emotional peace depends on outperforming everyone else, peace becomes impossible. Comparison steals gratitude, it steals confidence, it steals presence, it steals joy.
The passage highlights that no matter how much one achieves or how successful one becomes, there will always be someone who appears more successful. This constant comparison can lead to a cycle of feeling inadequate and unhappy with one's own accomplishments. The passage suggests that comparisons steal gratitude, confidence, presence, and joy from people, leading to negative emotional responses.
The healthier approach is self comparison. Are we improving? Are we learning? Are we becoming more disciplined, kind, aware, and resilient? Growth should not only be measured externally, internal growth matters deeply.
The passage highlights the importance of focusing on self comparison rather than comparing ourselves to others externally. Instead of just looking at external accomplishments, it's crucial to consider internal growth as well. The focus should be on questions like: am I growing? Am I learning? And am I becoming more disciplined, kind, aware, and resilient? These internal changes will contribute greatly to overall growth and a sense of fulfillment.
A calmer nervous system is growth. Better emotional regulation is growth. More discipline is growth. More gratitude is growth. Better relationships are growth. Greater self awareness is growth. When we stop obsessively measuring ourselves against others, we create space for peace. Feeling good, anyways, means
The passage
recognizing.
emphasizes that growth is not just about external achievements, but also about internal improvements in areas such as emotional regulation, discipline, gratitude, relationships, and self awareness. It suggests that focusing solely on external comparisons can be detrimental and encourage negative thinking. Instead, by recognizing and celebrating internal growth, individuals can experience true growth and fulfillment. The passage points out that growth encompasses a range of positive changes in our life. It highlights the importance of focusing on inner growth, such as better emotional regulation, discipline, relationships, and self awareness, rather than external comparisons. By letting go of comparisons, we can find space for inner peace and a sense of contentment in our own journey. The message is that happiness does not depend on how we stack up against others, but rather finding fulfillment in our own growth and personal improvements.
Can you please summarize what we discussed about?
The passage highlights the destructive nature of comparison, particularly on social media, which can lead to feelings of inadequacy and dissatisfaction. Instead, it recommends focusing on self comparison, asking questions about internal growth, such as self improvement and personal development. Emphasis is also placed on letting go of comparisons and finding inner peace in personal growth rather than comparing oneself to others.
Chapter 9, Progress over Perfection, page 12. Perfectionism often creates paralysis. People avoid taking action because they fear mistakes. They delay starting, they overthink, they wait for certainty, they criticize themselves constantly. But perfection is impossible. Growth happens through imperfect action. Every skill requires repetition. Every expert was once a beginner. Every successful person has experienced failure, confusion, setbacks, and mistakes.
The passage from chapter 9 of the book, Feel Good Anyways, emphasizes the harmful effects of perfectionism on individuals' lives. People may avoid taking action out of fear of making mistakes, leading to procrastination and overthinking. They may wait until everything is perfectly aligned before starting. Perfection, however, is unattainable. Growth comes through imperfect action. Every skill requires repetition, and every expert was once a beginner who experienced failure, confusion, and setbacks on their path to success. It encourages individuals to embrace the process of growth and improvement, recognizing that progress is more meaningful than achieving impossible ideals.
The goal is not flawless execution. The goal is consistent progress. Progress builds confidence. Action builds momentum. Experience builds wisdom. Perfectionism often hides fear, fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of not being enough. But waiting for perfection wastes enormous amount of life.
The passage encourages a shift away from the pursuit of flawless execution and instead focuses on consistent progress as the ultimate goal. It highlights that progress builds confidence, action builds momentum, and experience builds wisdom. The passage also highlights that fear often underlies perfectionism, with people fearing judgment, failure, embarrassment, and not being good enough. However, waiting for perfection wastes valuable time in life.
Feeling good anyways means fully allowing ourselves to grow imperfectly. It means understanding that mistakes are part of learning. It means being compassionate towards ourselves while still remaining accountable. We do not need to become perfect before deserving peace.
The passage on feeling good, anyways, encourages accepting imperfection as a natural part of growth and learning. It promotes self compassion while still remaining accountable for one's own progress and development. The passage asserts that achieving perfection is not a prerequisite for finding peace and highlights the importance of being kind to oneself even in imperfect circumstances. The message is to embrace personal growth and self improvement with self compassion and understanding.
Can you please summarize progress over perfection that we discussed about?
Certainly, the concept of progress over perfection encourages a mindset focused on the growth associated with consistent action rather than the unreachable goal of perfection. It highlights that embracing imperfect action fosters learning and confidence, while avoiding taking any action due to the constant need for everything to be perfect can be paralyzing and time wasting. The passage also highlights the link between perfectionism and fear, as the desire for perfection often stems from deep rooted insecurities and the fear of not being good enough.
Chapter 10, The Relationships Between Meaning and Happiness, page 13. Pleasure alone cannot sustain emotional fulfillment. Temporary entertainment may distract us briefly, but deeper well being often comes from meaning. Meanings come from contribution, growth, connection, creativity, purpose, service, learning, love, responsibility. People tend to feel stronger emotionally when they believe their life matters.
The passage passage from chapter 10 of the Feel Good Anyways emphasizes that while pleasure can offer brief distraction, deeper and more enduring emotional fulfillment often arises from finding meaning in our lives. This meaning can be found in various forms, such as contribution, growth, connection, creativity, purpose, service, learning, and love. It suggests that when people feel their life has a meaningful purpose, they tend to experience greater emotional resilience and a sense of fulfillment.
Meanings give suffering context. Difficult work becomes more bearable when compared to purpose, when connected to purpose. Sacrifice becomes easier when connected to values. Feeling good anyways does not mean chasing constant pleasure. It means building a life aligned with deeper meaning. A meaningful life still contains pain, but pain becomes easier to endure when connecting to something worthwhile. We can act more effectively when working on meaningful objectives, even when our obstacles are powerful.
The passage emphasizes the importance of finding deeper meaning in life as it gives context to suffering and difficult experiences. The passage mentions that feeling ways does not mean chasing constant pleasure, but rather cultivating a life aligned with deeper meaning. It highlights that a meaningful life still includes pain and suffering, but encourages one to find a connection to meaningful objectives as a way to weather difficult times. This approach allows for more effective action even in the face of powerful obstacles.
This is why many people feel empty despite material success. External success without internal meaning often creates emotional emptiness and lack of satisfaction. Real fulfillment requires both external effort and internal alignment.
The passage highlights why some individuals may feel empty or a lack of contentment, even with material success. These individuals often find that external success does not bring true satisfaction without being aligned internally. The passage suggests that true fulfillment involves a balance of both external effort and internal alignment, meaning putting effort into achieving external goals while also focusing on finding inner contentment and purpose.
Can you please summarize the relationship between happiness and meaning?
The relationship between happiness and meaning suggests that true happiness is not only found in temporary pleasure, but also in cultivating a life alignment with deeper, more significant meaning. When people discover their sense of purpose and work towards meaningful goals, they are more likely to experience deep and sustained happiness, even amidst trials and tribulations. This deeper sense of purpose and meaning, therefore, acts as a foundation for long term happiness and emotional well being.
Chapter 11, Training the Mind. The mind can become either a prison or a source of strength. Though patterns matter, people who constantly rehearse fear, anger, resentment, guilt, hopelessness, pride, and self criticism strengthen those emotional pathways over time. Meanwhile, people who intentionally practice gratitude, resilience, perspectives, optimism, appreciation, and self awareness strengthen healthier emotional habits.
The section on training the mind highlights the importance of cultivating healthy mental habits and behaviors that strengthen positive emotions rather than negative ones. It suggests that frequent negative thoughts and emotions, such as fear, anger, and resentment, can strengthen negative emotional pathways over time, making it difficult to change these thought patterns. On the other hand, deliberately practicing gratitude, resilience, and self awareness helps develop healthier emotional habits and emotional pathways and leads to better overall emotional well being.
The brain adapts through repetition. This means emotional patterns can change. One helpful practice is observing thoughts instead of automatically believing them. Each thought is a choice we can make as needed. Not every thought is true. Not every fear is reality. Not every emotional reaction reflects objective truth. A stressed mind often exaggerates danger. It predicts disaster. It catastrophize is uncertainty. Learning to question negative thinking patterns creates emotional freedom. Learning to question negative feelings creates room for self exploration and analyzing our internal belief systems.
The passage underscores the adaptability of the brain and the importance of practicing self control over one's thoughts. It advocates for observing thoughts rather than automatically believing them, as thoughts are always a choice. It encourages questioning negative thinking patterns to break free from the constraints of negativity and exaggerated danger. Additionally, questioning negative feelings can create space for understanding one's internal belief systems better. The passage encourages self exploration and analysis of these beliefs to cultivate self awareness and improve mental habits.
For example, instead of saying everything is ruined, we can ask, is that actually true? Instead of saying I'll never recover, we can ask, what evidence supports that? This does not mean denying problems. It means refusing to mentally amplify suffering unnecessarily. Mental discipline matters. The thoughts we repeatedly practice influence the emotions we repeatedly experience.
The passage emphasizes the importance of self control over one's thoughts and suggests replacing automatic thoughts with more constructive and self aware alternatives. Instead of succumbing to negative thoughts and emotions, it urges questioning the validity and evidence behind those thoughts and beliefs. The passage does not suggest denying problems, but rather encourages refusing to mentally amplify suffering by practicing self awareness and discipline. It highlights that the thoughts one repeatedly practices shape the emotions and experiences one encounters, implying the power of mindfulness and discipline in shaping one's mental state.
Can you summarize everything we discussed above?
The main points discussed include the importance of cultivating self awareness, self acceptance, and self expression, as well as the significance of relationships and social well being. The importance of finding deeper purpose in life and letting go of the need for perfection was also emphasized. Additionally, it was noted the negative effects of seeking external validation and the importance of finding deeper meaning for true fulfillment. The concepts of the mind serving as a prison or a source of strength and the ability to change thought patterns were also explored.
I hope you enjoyed this reading of my book Feel Good Anyways. It is available on Amazon and I would highly recommend you to purchase a copy. Also, you can give these copies to your loved ones, friends, and family members.
I appreciate the recommendation and will certainly consider purchasing a copy. Additionally, I will definitely consider giving copies to my loved ones as well.
Also, please visit our website at www.blissfulness.life.
Thank you for the recommendation. I will be sure to visit the website at blissfulness.life.
Thank you and have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day and farewell.